Welcome back. Lights and decorations, costumes, masks, and a constant parade of strangers at the door. Halloween can be a downright scary experience for our pets, right? It's so easy to get focused on the kids and the costumes, and maybe you don't think about the pets until the last minute, or maybe it's too late. Dr. Chris Robinette is here with some good information now and reminders for pet owners on Halloween. So you're a veterinarian. I know that I imagine you encounter some issues, people bringing in pets. Maybe they got a hold of some of the candy or things like that.
Just a couple times, you know.
Yeah, just every now and then.
Every now and then, that's fine.
And we start with that, really. I mean, I know candy, it's one of the big no-nos, especially if you've got dogs or cats at home, but the kids need to be aware of that.
Yeah, so probably the most common thing we see is pets getting into chocolates or other candies, which is not so great. It can be quite toxic to some of them. So things like the various different candies we have here, sugar-free products, raisins, chocolates, can be quite toxic, but I usually see a lot of pets that eat the wrappers as well. That can cause blockages too. So just be very careful where you set your candy, because while you think it might be on a counter and safe, especially dogs are pretty good about finding that kind of stuff, or telling your kids that, like, while they may be enjoying it, it's not so great for your pets to have that as well.
Yeah, no chocolate for the dogs, especially at home.
No.
Some of the decorations you brought in here, these look like things that a dog might love to pick up and go to town on.
Yeah, so especially like your the fake spiderweb stuff, these smaller kind of decorations, lights and stuff that we see. I've got plenty of times where cats or dogs have gotten into and ingested some of these products and required surgery. So just be very careful about where you're placing them, or if you know your pets eat stuff that they shouldn't, definitely be careful where you put it.
This looks like a ball that a dog would chase after, too.
Yeah.
Cats, too. I mean, you can't forget about them. Some of the other decorations down here you brought in also include, like, costumes for pets.
Yeah, so just be very careful, like, when you're using a costume, like things that like to dangle. Pets think it might be like a toy for them, so just be very careful that, like, when you're putting it around their head, it's not too tight. It could, like, choke them or cause them, like, more distress. Or things that, like, have tails at the very end, they may think that that might be a chew toy and want to ingest that. So make sure it fits well, it's not too snug, and that they're not going to eat the product as well.
It probably won't take too long. I mean, hopefully you know your pet well enough to know if they're even going to tolerate a costume or not, before too long.
Yeah, too true.
What about we were talking about the knocks at the door, the doorbell. I mean, our dog goes nuts.
Yeah.
We can trick him sometimes and just like knock on the wall. He starts barking. I mean, what's the best advice if you've got a dog or a cat that's going to get nervous with all the traffic at the door?
Typically what I'll do is just put them in a kennel or a room where you can shut the door, and just that way that they're not going to be the ones that bolt or get super scared. They might bite someone. So I just put them in a safe space where they're more confined. That way they're not going to, like, run away or hurt someone or hurt themselves.
We actually came up with, for this reason, an idea a few years ago we call reverse trick-or-treating. So while we're out trick-or-treating, we bring our candy with us.
Yeah.
And so we hand it out to other trick-or-treaters, and so then people aren't coming to our door. We're just sort of trick-or-treating, but also passing it out around the neighborhood. So that's one way that we were able to cut down on some of the traffic at the door, but it's still going to happen.
That's
as
true.
long as the light is turned on.
Too true.
Any more last-minute tips or just overall things to keep in mind here? I mean, you really need to consider the pets before it's actual Halloween, but in advance.
Yeah, if your pets get super nervous, talk to your veterinarian to see if they need something to help them kind of calm down. But always make sure your pets have proper identification too, with ID tags on their collars or microchips. I typically do both, because collars can slip off or break, and so that way if they were to get away, if someone were to find them, you can be contacted appropriately.
You can get them back home.
Yeah.
Doctor, thanks so much for coming in. And for more information and tips on how to keep your pets safe on this Halloween, you can visit fox59.com/links, and we'll link that up to you right there. We've got much more news. Your top stories are coming up next as well. We'll be right back.